Back live at Daytona International Speedway, getting ready for tonight's Subway Firecracker 250 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Cars about to roll off the pit lane to begin the parade and pace laps before the green flag. Going to see some great racing tonight and have a little fun with a flick that many consider the best racing movie ever.
It's got to be Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder.
People gave me a hard time about this for a long time, but I hadn't seen Days of Thunder until this year.
I think that's the one we all know the lines to. We've all watched. I've seen so many great racing movies though over the years.
I'm gonna have to go a little different direction here and go with Senna.
Mentioned about Ayrton Senna. I thought I didn't know a whole lot about him before I watched the movie, and just after that it was just a real eye opener.
It's hard to beat Stroke Race.
There's the Jamaican bobsled racing movie. I don't know. That's why it can't be my favorite because I can't even think of the name of it.
Well, a lot of good nominees there, but the one that's going to get the nod tonight, and the winner is Days of Thunder. Kurt Busch, James Finch, the team owner, Rick Hendrick, teaming up to bring back the look from the Tom Cruise car in the Days of Thunder movie. Trying to raise a little awareness tonight for the cause of post-traumatic stress disorder for our soldiers returning home. Kurt and his crew chief, Nick Harrison, they've been rehearsing their lines from the movie just about all week long.
Where do you want to go? Indianapolis. To win in Indy, I need a great car, but stock cars are all the same.
There's nothing stock about a stock car.
Look, I'm not trying to insult you, but stock cars are built to run equal. I won't be beaten by a car, only by a driver. You build me a car, and I'll win Daytona on Friday.
Well, they built him a car, and he just might win Daytona on Friday. Let's dial old Cole or Kurt up, whatever you're going to call it.
All right. Hey, Cole, Kurt, whoever's driving that one City Chevrolet tonight, you with us?
I got you in the booth. Go.
Hey, Kurt, it looks like that you guys have really had a lot of fun in bringing back some memories for a lot of us here. Seems like the week has been kind of a blast for you, hasn't it?
It's been just to have Mr. Hendrick give us the City Chevrolet, and Chevy's always been a big bench racing and Phoenix racing, and so it's just cool paint scheme out along with the Armed Forces Foundation to awareness around PTSD and traumatic brain injury. So happy to carry the colors of the red, white, and blue and this lovely yellow and green paint scheme.
It's always fun when you can do something that's fun and for a good cause also. Kurt, our next question comes from our mailbag, and David in Midlothian, Virginia asked, who do you plan to draft with tonight since you are driving for a single-car team?
Well, that leaves us with a lot of when you're a car team, but we're going to team up with Chevys, especially with Hendrick horsepower under the hood. Halfway into the race, you don't know who's still going to be left, and then once the race gets closer to the end, your friendships get tested at that moment, and we'll see how the last final restarts shake out for us. But we're hoping for a good ride. I got Harry. He's got this thing shaped like, and we're about to hit everything out here, including the pace car tonight.
All right, well, you had a lot of things and won the race last year, so best of luck. Hey, thanks for talking with us. We'll talk to you later on in the race. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Nick Harrison.
How about it, Nick Harrison, Andy Peter in the booth?
That's you loud and clear there, Andy.
Hey, Nick, the race last year, it looked like a scene out of the movie Days of Thunder, the way you guys won that thing. Are you going to play this a little more conservative and try not to get in trouble? Or are you going to charge to the front or maybe lay back?
We're certainly going to the front and definitely don't try to lay back here, but take care of our car, keep water in it. And Cole's a kamikaze driver, a lot like Buck Bretherton was, and Buddy's down here in the pits, and we want Cole to be a kamikaze driver for us tonight.
Well, we know he can take it straight to the front, Nick. Thanks for talking to us, buddy. Have a good one.
Got it, man.
And we get our best people jumping right on that little radio hiccup there, and we'll fix that right up for the next time we dial up our ESPN in-race reporter. Kurt carrying one of our high-definition onboard cameras tonight. The Chevy onboard is aboard the #1 City Chevy. Austin Dillon's got our Admiral Care on board. Championship leader Regan Smith with a nationwide insurance camera, as does Elliott Sadler with a nationwide Dash for Cash camera. Matt Kenseth's got a GameStop on board. Joey Logano, the Ford EcoBoost camera. Ty Dillon's got the Hunt Brothers Pizza camera, and Kyle Busch has our Toyota onboard camera here at Daytona tonight. And a reminder, you can check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy and watch all the race coverage tonight live from Daytona International Speedway. 10 HD live race views, live chat, and live leaderboard. They work the pace laps. The green flag coming up.
It's gonna be a long, hot summer. Wish you'd be together with you.
Independence Weekend Racing at Daytona for the 55th year. Tonight, the NASCAR Nationwide Series. In the Subway Firecracker 250, the green flag just moments away, 82 degrees after what's been a little bit of a steamy day. But the radar looks good, and we're getting ready for some fantastic action here at the World Center of Racing. Some stories to update before we go green. We start with Dave Burns.
Dash for Cash opportunist Austin Dillon qualified on the pole tonight. It's the 6th time this season, but none of those fast qualifications have resulted in a victory. He hopes tonight, with $100,000 on the line, that the start can match with the finish. Shannon Spake.
Well, just 2 weeks ago, points leader Regan Smith had a 58-point lead over the rest of the field. After 2 bad weekends, that lead is currently at just 8 points. So what does Regan think about the situation? Well, he told me the rest of the contenders, they think they have us exactly where they want us. But what they've forgotten is that we're also the team that had a substantial lead after just 13 races, and they're confident that they could get there again. Dr. Jerry Punch?
Well, back in February, Elliott Sadler was the fastest of the 4 Joe Gibbs cars in qualifying, but never got to show his hand because the car overheated very early. Now, today, the team said we're going to sacrifice some qualifying speed to make the car handle better in the race. And guess what? They went out and became the fastest Toyota in qualifying. Could that be an omen that Elliott Sadler's going to win the nationwide Dash for Cash tonight? Here's Mike Massaro.
For the second straight week, Travis Pastrana will start on the front row. The challenge now, however, turning those strong qualifying efforts into strong race results. Chad Norris's advice to his driver, Pastrana, simple. Be smart tonight, earn respect in the draft, and be there with 5 laps to go in order to capitalize. Alan?
Travis finished 10th in the season opener here back in February. It'll be busy on the track. It'll be busy down on the pit lane as well. Our over-the-wall camera tonight is being carried by Brad Robinson, who's going to carry the rear tires on the pit stops for Ty Dillon's 33 team. Brad's going to be a busy night for you. What's the plan for the 33 team?
Our plan tonight is just to survive. I mean, it's Speedway racing, and what that means is that, you know, we just have to survive. There's going to be a couple wrecks throughout the night. You know, you just got to plan on that. That's just part of it. There's probably going to be a wreck right in the beginning as the cars kind of filter out and they find their tandem partners who they want to draft with throughout the race. So you know, we just got to be lucky and stay out of that. And then, of course, at the end, you know, with 5 laps left, especially with this Dash for Cash, the driver's going to get real aggressive and everybody's want to win the race. So we just got to survive. You know, we got to get a little lucky. We obviously have a fast car. All the RCR cars, you know, we qualified first, third, and fourth. So, you know, so we have fast cars. We do have to adjust on it, you know what I mean, throughout the night, throughout the race, because, you know, we qualified at 2 o'clock and we're racing now at 8. So the track's changed, so we got to adjust on the car and everything like that, and, you know, and just keep it full of gas, no mistakes. And if we do all that, we're going to win the race.
I like the confidence, and I wish you a great night tonight. We'll be watching. As will apparently the 4-time champ.
I love this stuff. I've been coming down here for 30 years, and I absolutely love it still today. I just can't wait to get these things started.
I'll guarantee you, every driver down there is just like Jeff Gordon. They're tuned in to watch this because you love exciting racing, and that's what we're going to see.
Well, there's nothing like a race at Daytona. And we are so glad you joined us for our coverage of this one tonight. To get the 250-mile distance, it's 100 laps around the 2.5-mile track. The early caution, yes, it often happens here. 7 of the last 8 races here at Daytona have had a caution around lap 7 or 8. We'll see if it happens tonight. Pace cars off, green flags in the air. We are racing at Daytona. Travis Pastrana to the lead, pushed by Brian Scott.
That was briefly a 3-car tandem down the back straightaway, and I think that's what gave him that extra boost.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. You can't see that. You can't do that very long. Just simply, well, for a number of reasons, the third guy can't. They've tried to make it work, but it just won't happen for a lengthy period of time. But it certainly gave those two a boost.
Wow, Ty Dillon shoots from the bottom lane where he was behind his brother in the 3 all the way to the top lane of the racetrack in that 33.
You'd have to think to make that move and be pushing his brother that something happened that kind of caught him off guard going down into turn 1. I saw Kurt Busch right there get on the bumper of Joey Logano. Well, that didn't last long.
Kurt to the inside, an update as a lead change here. Brian Scott around Travis Pastrana. Well, wasn't quite clear of him there.
Yeah, you try to make that transition that Andy was talking about where you have to switch a little more seamless than that. But
and look at the difference in speed. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, you can see just how making that one switch, just getting out of line and unhook for just a second, can cost you so much speed. But they'll be back to the front.
They will. They almost crashed there, though. That was the thing, that Brian just didn't quite get there. You know, it helps a little bit, too. The other driver will back out just a little bit so you can make it happen quicker.
Touchy tandem drafting. What happened to Ty Dillon a lap ago, Dave?
We expected overheating reports tonight, Alan, but not after just one lap. But in fact, that's what he told his crew. It started getting hot. He had to pull out and get clean air.
Wow.
I'll tell you one thing I've seen, I don't know, it's something weird, but the cars will run hotter in that very first part of the race than they will after they kind of saturate with heat later on. I don't know what it is, but sometimes you can have a cooling issue right off the bat.
For the lead, Austin Dillon 3, Elliott Sadler 11, Kurt Busch 1, Sam Hornish 12.
We saw Elliott Sadler and Austin Dillon work a lot together last year here at Daytona when they were teammates. So they obviously have learned to work together. And Elliott's a great person to have behind you pushing. He's going to have to be careful with these Toyotas, though. We saw them have some issues back here in February getting those things too hot too early.
Four laps.
2 liter, cold 3 by.
4 liters. Steve Barkdahl, the spotter. And how about Michael Annett, that yellow number 43 for Richard Petty Motorsports, pushed by Matt Kenseth. Remember Annett with that vicious crash with 5 laps to go here in February, broke and dislocated his sternum. He missed 2 months of racing. Back at Daytona, says, we were in position to have a shot at the win in February. I was so encouraged by that coming back here.
See how this works out. We see these 3 cars possibly hooking up again. I wondered if Elliott Sadler was going to take the push he's getting from Logano there and just go on by the 3 car, but they actually hooked back up.
Joey Logano in the 22, the 3rd car in that trio.
Yeah, Joey's doing a good job. He backs off right through the trioval because there's just no way you can do that without crashing.
Yeah, you've got that. Plus, once that second car attaches to that front one, the third one can't really keep up without somebody pushing him from behind, and obviously we haven't seen 4 work together. They do this 100 laps, right?
It's going to be like this all night. We're just getting started at Daytona. Early in the Subway Firecracker 250 at Daytona, we've had 5 different drivers lead, 6 lead changes. Sam Hornish is the latest to go out front, pushed by his Penske teammate, Joey Logano. Big weekend of motorsports on the ESPN networks. Reminder that tomorrow you can see the American Le Mans Series Northeast Grand Prix from Lime Rock in Connecticut, 3 Eastern ESPN2. Summit Racing Equipment and NHRA Nationals qualifying comes up tomorrow on ESPN2 at 6 Eastern. Then Sunday, the return of IndyCar racing to Pocono. ABC at noon Eastern. The Summit Racing Equipment and NHRA Nationals final elimination Sunday night, 7 Eastern ESPN2. And the Nationwide Series after this race tonight at Daytona is on to the Magic Mile in New Hampshire next Saturday on ABC. Kyle Busch coming up through traffic. 54 car pushing through to third. Kyle has led so many laps at Daytona and Talladega. He's got a win here before in the Nationwide Series, but he has been snake bit in those closing laps of these races.
Yeah, he gets himself there in that position, but just always ends up getting clipped or something happening there. But we'll see him up front once again now. He's got his teammate, Elliott Sadler, right behind him, pushing him now. Dave, what's Mr. Kyle Busch got to say about his car so far?
DJ, the thing for Kyle tonight is to keep that car, the nose of it, in the clean air. Remember, they had a meltdown in February, and crew chief Adam Stevens told me he needs Kyle to take care of that engine all night long. The big thing is, don't put yourself in a position you can't get out of. Right now, he's in a really good spot. He's out in front of this group.
And running in third position.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest problems. I mean, is these engines getting hot. The crew chiefs, all of them down there, that I thought they're really worried about that and want to save the engine to the end of the race when it counts.
Justin Allgaier, we saw sliding back through this lead group a little bit ago, kind of stabilized for the moment in 8th spot. Shannon.
Well, he came over the radio and he told his crew that the brace on the right side window is broken. He told them to go ahead and get one because they may have to make a change, but he definitely said that brace is broken inside the race car.
Hey, you got to have that right side window in, so if that brace weakens it and it pops out due to the airflow around the car somehow, like that, look at that thing.
You can see it fluttering for sure.
Yeah.
That's going to be a problem.
So Scott Zipadelli and company will make a plan to get that fixed and hope it lasts until the first pit stop. Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, 1-18. Would be no surprise whatsoever if one of those two drivers was holding the trophy at the end of the night. How about this one, Doc?
Got a great race car. And a little bit ago, we went to commercial. We saw Kurt Busch drafting with the 3 of Austin Dillon. And Kurt said, getting hot, got to make the switch. But they couldn't make the switch as they go by Austin Dillon. Now he doesn't have a drafting partner because when Kurt Busch called his spotter on the roof, his spotter couldn't get to Austin Dillon's spotter because the spotters are on 2 separate platforms on the roof. This made it very difficult to get a message to the 3 car, so they couldn't switch, and both of them dropped and lost about 8 or 10 spots trying to cool it down.
Yeah, that's one of the things about this tandem drafting now that when it first started, drivers and teams had the capabilities of the drivers talking to each other, and in cases like that, that's since been replaced with the fact that they cannot do that anymore, and so you kind of have to make it happen on your own.
Yeah, and it comes down to the fact that you have to save the engine regardless, even if you lose the draft for a while, because that lag in communication, by the time you do get it communicated, you're too hot, so you have to do it.
The draft here at Daytona and Talladega, the great equalizer for some of the lesser funded teams and an opportunity for them to slide up, contend for the win, and get a great finish. You saw Mike Bliss in the 19, Cole Witt in the 44. There they are, running well. Joe Nemechek was in that group as well in the 87. It's nothing, no slight to these teams to say that they don't have the engineering and the funding and so on that the bigger Sprint Cup affiliated teams do, and there they are up there contended.
Yeah, we talked about in qualifying, Mike Bliss, we would see him up there. Cole Witt's done a nice job since he's gotten in this 44 car too, and he's not afraid to get the job done here too. He has a top 5 finish here at Daytona.
So Joe teamed up with Austin Dillon there in 12th and 13th. Here are the leaders. Sam Hornish and Joey Logano. The Penske posse out in front early in the going tonight at Daytona. Early on in the Subway Firecracker 250 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Daytona. Caution free so far. All 40 starters are still on the racetrack. 37 are on the lead lap. Sam Hornish Jr. is the race leader in the Penske 12. The second annual NASCAR and American Salute highlights NASCAR's ongoing support of American service members. The initiative kicked off at the Coca-Cola 600 Memorial Day weekend and concludes this weekend here at Daytona. Fans can participate by visiting NASCAR.com/salutes or by posting a photo or message on Twitter or Instagram using the hashtag NASCAR Salutes. Say thanks to our troops. As this race progresses throughout the night, there will be a lot of comings and goings from the front of the pack. We saw Ty Dillon in that 33, the green, red, and white car, fall back because of an overheating problem in the opening couple of laps. as far back as 13th. He's chipped his way back up in the running order to 5th. We saw Michael Annett run up toward the front of the pack. He's now dropped all the way back in line. Travis Pastrana, we saw lead the first lap of this race. He's now all the way toward the back of the pack. Shannon, how about an update on Pastrana?
Well, Alan, that was the plan all along for the 60 and the 6 all weekend long. It was to drop back, and even after Travis qualified 2nd and Trevor Bayne qualified 8th, I went and spoke with Mike Kelly, who was crew chief for Trevor Bayne, and asked him if that had changed the plan, and he said no. We are going to try to lead a lap. If we don't in the first couple laps, then we're going to drop back for 85 to 90 laps, and then we're going to make our move. For Trevor Bayne, 68 points out of the points lead right now. They said if they can survive this race, they think that they could still make a run at this championship thing, but it's all about getting out of Daytona, and this is their plan.
I'd like to get by these two right here. I feel like they might blow up or something.
Well, there's the plan and the radio and the scoring serial for Trevor Bayne, who runs in 32nd place right now. That 77 Parker Kligerman had to drop to the back on the pace laps. They made post-impound adjustments. They didn't qualify very well, and probably a good idea.
Yeah, and the 6 and the 60, they've fallen back. They're about a half a lap behind, but their lap times are basically what the leaders are running, so they're really not losing any more time right now, even though they're quite a ways back on the racetrack.
Here's a big run up the outside.
It seems like that they're a little conservative here as far as the pushing goes. They're not really getting aggressive with it. They're trying to take care of these engines, and I think that's the big thing that we see right now. When it gets down to the end of the race, though, you're going to see it. They'll hook up for many, many laps at a time. A lot tighter than you're seeing now.
On board, Kurt Busch.
Dropping the hammer. No, you're not. Water, let me know when you need to switch.
For the lead, Matt Kenseth, 18.
Well, Logano's done a fantastic job there pushing Sam Hornish around there.
I see some water coming out of Kurt Busch's car right now.
Yeah.
So he's either got to push Matt clear of Hornish and get out from behind him or fall back here.
Blowing a lot of water. We're going to have to be careful with this.
They need to swap now, regardless. He just needs to drop back, do whatever it takes.
And it doesn't take much with these engines, Andy, to go over that limit, does it? I mean,
when it starts blowing that seal, you see that water steaming out the windshield, you need to make that change as soon as you can, because when you lose that water, you don't get it back.
Here come Brian Vickers in the 20 and the championship leader, Regan Smith, in the 7. Remember, Smith won at Talladega in that when did the caution come out? Three-way race with Casey Kane and Joey Logano. Smith was leading, exiting turn 4, coming to the checkered flag here at Daytona in February when he and Brad Keselowski made contact and that big wreck began. And the blue spoiler and windshield banner on the Vickers car, one of the 4 drivers in the Nationwide Dash for Cash tonight, racing for that $100,000 bonus if you can be the highest finisher of those 4 drivers tonight.
You see, Kenseth was doing a nice job there with Kurt Busch and pushing him up there, but as they got close enough, I believe that the 1 car got a little bit of help getting to the 22, and it separated the 1 and the 18 right at that moment. You see, now they've lost a little bit of ground once again, but they get reattached.
For the discussion of how long can you push and when do you have to switch and so on, how about those lead 2 cars?
They've been doing it a while.
Yes.
I've been noticing that. They've had the clean air, and it looks like Logano's doing a really good job of offsetting his car enough to get that air into the grill.
Well, that's the point that you make, Andy, is he's offsetting enough to do that, which allows these others to run them down whenever they get hooked up and can stay there long enough that they're making just a little bit more time because Joey is getting out there enough to keep there, but they're not having to make that switch, and nobody's been able to go up there and make a pass on them yet.
That the 17th lap that Hornish has led in that 12 car. Still very early in the going here at Daytona. First pit stops coming up. Daytona International Speedway and the Subway Firecracker 250 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Being led by Sam Hornish Jr. in the 12 with his Penske teammate Joey Logano pushing him in the draft. There are about 10 cars that are running in the tandem this way. Then a big gap on the racetrack back to another group of cars that have chosen just to run in the pack. And that single file draft.
You see, it's a pretty good gap back to these other cars. Still not back to the bigger pack.
Yep.
And I think what y'all were talking about, a lot of people being a little more conservative because we saw a number of issues here in February, and obviously it's a lot hotter than either one of the first two restrictor plate races that they've done. But I think that they're making sure that they take time to make those switches, or they're not dead in behind where they can get the most speed out of this. They're having to switch or offset, and so we're seeing them break apart here a little bit. I think later on, that as they get more comfortable with it, we'll see them back in packs running the tandem too.
Coming up very soon on the window for some of these lead cars to begin making green flag pit stops. We've seen a couple on and off pit road from the tail end of the field.
I think somewhere between 35 and 39 we'll see a lot of cars on pit road.
Let's talk about the other thing that makes this impressive what Logano's doing. You could get out there on that right side of that bumper. You have to be extremely careful. Just a little bit too far out there, and you turn that car in front of you. So he's not only being able to stay right there. Now they've gotten separated just a little bit.
Regan Smith in the 7 got down on the side of Logano in the 22. Used that draft to pull them apart.
Yeah, that's a technique the drivers use to try to pull those tandems apart. It worked perfect for Regan Smith.
Yeah, and you can see the distance already that they've put on those two cars.
New leader, Regan Smith, Dave.
And there was a moment, Alan, where he needed the help of Brian Vickers. They were not running together, and he asked if Vickers would drop back and pick him up. Now that works if there's not a lot to lose for Vickers, and there wasn't, so he got Regan Smith, and that's how they got to the front.
Opportunistic partnerships.
Yeah, we'll see quite a few of those tonight.
Yeah, and if you're Brian Vickers, there would be somebody he would rather be with because he's still a lot of points behind Regan Smith as far as the championship goes, but he's got himself right now in a position that this is the best scenario for him at this point in time of the race.
Here they come again, right back. Hornish back to the front with Logano. Reed Sorensen in the 40 just off the pit lane. And trying to come back up to speed. All right, I'm not willing to settle for third at the moment. Smith with a look inside while Ty Dillon comes down the pit lane, Dave.
Remember, he was overheating a bit earlier. He dropped back and he picked up a JGR Trio for a while. He will take 4 tires. They will fill it full of Sunoco fuel. He was kind of out in no man's land. Ernie Cope said he didn't have a problem with that. He's just hoping this young rookie can get laps tonight. Shannon?
Mike Bliss is currently making his way. He's in his pit stall right now. His water temp was a little bit high, but it's been a great run for Mike Bliss so far, who started this race 21st.
Regan Smith and Brian Vickers hit the pit lane. Doc?
And Brian Vickers says he wants 4 tires. The car drafting well, gets a little bit tight in the draft. Wanted 4 tires, a chassis adjustment, both right and left rear. Left side tires going, getting it full of Sunoco fuel. Dave.
For Regan Smith, it was important, of course, to lead that lap. You see a wedge adjustment for the car. He was just a little bit loose in the traffic when he got out front, actually. They'll fill it full of Sunoco fuel, and he will take 4 tires. Mike?
Alex Bowman on pit road now. This has been a little bit different experience under race conditions. When he was practicing yesterday, he never really hooked up, just ran by himself. So he's been getting a little bit more adjusted and acclimated to the conditions out there. The car's been just a little bit snug. Shannon?
There's Trevor Bayne. He's currently in his pit stall. It's going to be 4 tires, no adjustment. The plan the entire race has been to drop back. The 6 is currently in. His teammate, Travis Pastrana, is also in his pit stall. Those guys are going to hang out in the back and make their move. Doc.
Matt Kenseth said the car almost jumped sideways. It almost snapped sideways, getting too tight coming off turn 4. Ordered a chassis adjustment in 4 tires. He's away. Dave.
Some call Kyle Busch a hot shoe. His fans to his feet are not working. So, well, that'll be interesting to watch all night. He gets 4 tires and a chassis adjustment. Also, Austin Dillon on pit road right now. The first pit stall for earning the pole tonight. So far, his car has been like everybody else, not bad handling, but he has to watch those temperatures. They've been rising in the 3 car.
And here come the leaders, Sam Hornish and Joey Logano, to pit road as a tandem as they've been running on the racetrack.
So Sam Hornish, lock it up a little bit. You have to make sure you're getting 4 tires if you get in a little bit too hot with that. Mike?
And Sam Hornish, as you might imagine, real happy with his race car. Has been rather quiet, hasn't said much all evening long. They're going to take tires and Sunoco race fuel. No changes to this race car. 4 new Goodyears. Sam trying to just pick up right where he left off as he came down pit road. Dave?
Neutral for the 22, and they've got an issue. It's just a little bit of a slow stop. It's not bad for Joey Logano, but when he was pushing cars neutral, he didn't know what it would be like when he got pushed. Mike?
Kyle Larson on pit road. He's taking 4 tires and Sunoco race fuel as well. No adjustments there.
So off the pit stops, Brian Vickers and Regan Smith got back together quickly in the tandem draft, and we'll see if they're able to overtake Hornish and Logano as they get up to speed off the pit lane. Here come Vickers and Smith.
And they're closing fast on those Penske cars.
Yep, there they are. The white cars. And Brian Vickers is the new leader here at Daytona tonight. Caution-free so far. First round of pit stops is through. 11 lead changes. 8 different drivers have been out in front. Sam Hornish has done most of the leading, but it's Brian Vickers now out front. Sam Hornish back to the lead in the Subway Firecracker 250 at Daytona at 100 miles of the 250 that will run tonight. Hornish and Joey Logano drafting past Brian Vickers and Regan Smith just a second ago as they were lapping the 2 cars just behind them, Jamie Dick and Parker Kligerman. Reminder to check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy and watch all the action tonight from Daytona with 10 HD live race views, live chat, and live leaderboard. So it's one of the interesting things with this tandem drafting is when you're racing another pair of cars and you run up on a third pair of cars. Whoa.
Now that was close. You can see the black marks. That had to be fun, Dale.
Yeah, you have to be careful. I mean, gosh. This is what makes this so difficult is because you're literally the eyes of the driver behind, and when you make an abrupt move like that, he has to, and that runs your front bumper across his rear bumper, and things happen in a hurry. They're almost at 200 miles per hour.
These aren't exactly flat, square surfaces either. They've got a little round to them. Sam Hornish being challenged for the lead, Mike.
Yeah, he is. He's got his hands full. As you can see, Regan Smith now working his way to the inside, along with Brian Vickers trying to take that lead away. We just saw the video of Hornish and the 22 overtaking lap traffic. Well, as exciting as it was for us, it was even more exciting from the driver's seat.
Well, that was a little bit scarier than it had to be.
Well, this isn't necessarily scary. This is dramatic. It's side-by-side racing for the lead right now, and Vickers, it appears, has the advantage, Alan.
Yeah, and right now you can see Jamie Dick and that 55 and Parker Kligerman, they're lap cars, but they're made some ground back up on these leaders trying to get back on the lead lap. It's going to get interesting here.
26th and 27th places are the 55 and 77. But if the caution were to come out, only one of them is going to get the free pass.
Unless they can both pass the leader.
Yep. Well, and those those cars coming into the mix.
You can see right there Regan Smith making the switch now. He needs to cool his engine down. Ryan Vickers trying to get right back to the bumper. The thing is, those two leaders have not swapped, I don't think, the whole race. I've seen Joey Logano basically pushing Sam Hornish since the start. I think Joey really has a good technique and able to push without getting his car hot. You've seen like Kurt Busch, he got his car hot. You can see in this right here, the water was coming out of the overflow while he was pushing Matt Kenseth. But you can see how much offset that Joey Logano is on the rear bumper of Sam Hornish. That allows some air to get to that radiator. Although I thought I saw just a little bit of steam coming out of Joey's car about a lap ago.
It makes a lot of sense, though. I believe the stat is that Joey Logano's finished in the top 6 out of the last 9 restrictor plate races. So he understands this and has really found what he can and can't do. And, he's there at the end, and makes a big difference when you're willing just to give up that little bit and not having to switch. They're actually losing less time over a longer period of time than having to do the switch and making maximum speed for a few laps and the possibility of overheating your engine.
Yeah, the way Joey's doing it, they're probably getting like 75% of the benefit of the tandem drafting, but they're doing it all the time. They're not having to make that swap, so it does net out to be pretty good for them.
Saw Matt Kenseth and Kyle Busch, 18 and 54, run up on Bobby Gerhardt's car and get separated, trying to overtake Gerhardt in the 85. Now they've locked back in together in that draft and continue to try. Well, they did for a second.
Yeah, it seemed like I thought I heard Kyle Busch have to get out of the throttle just a little bit right there.
It looks like it's time for a switch.
A lot to think about behind the wheel of a car at 180 some miles an hour. When to switch, who you're racing around, what's your temperature gauge, how far are we into the race, is it worth it right now?
It's a chess match.
Hornish continues to lead. Just shy of halfway, caution for debris on the backstretch at Daytona. Haven't run very long since green flag pit stops. Watch for a ton of strategy here, Doc.
Ryan Vickers will be about 5 laps shy of making it to the checkered flag. If they get it completely full of fuel, it'll be right side tires, chassis adjustment. He's loose when being pushed in the draft. Mike.
Greg Irwin counting Sam Hornish all the way into his pit stall. He hits his marks perfectly. Gas only on the 12.
Regan Smith's car, upper right, was a little bit tight. He took on 2 right side tires and made a track bar adjustment. They told Joey Logano, don't slide these. You might be living with them for the rest of the night. And he didn't take any.
And there you go, kind of a split agenda between right sides only and just topping off the fuel tank. And a moment to breathe. Almost halfway through the race before we get the first yellow flag. Probably won't be the last. As has been our norm during these Nationwide Series races, we grab a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series driver, have him come on up and have a look on. Carl Edwards is actually, you were with us in a more full-time capacity for a few races earlier this season.
Yes, and it is nice to be back up here and see you guys. And this race is really special for me this weekend. It's the Subway Firecracker 250, and I drive the Subway Ford Fusion. And tomorrow night I'll be driving the Avocado Ford. So this is a big race for Subway, and it's really cool to be up here in the booth and
bring me an Italian sub.
Actually, that's pretty bad of me to come up here with a Subway shirt and not bring sandwiches, but we can get that done. Somebody out there, Tony Benetti, somebody bring some subs up here to the booth. That'd be great.
You see how this all ties together. Impressions of what you've seen in the race so far?
It looks like the Fords are pretty strong. And it looks like that they're able to stick together, and I think that's the key. If you don't have to separate, you never have to give up those few seconds on the racetrack. So I think, barring like a big caution at the end and a crazy chaotic event, which I don't know if that would ever happen here. I think that the Fords, they look real strong.
How about your thoughts for tomorrow night with your car?
Tomorrow night, we've got a very fast car. It's we've put a lot of effort at Doug Yates has. Everybody at Roush Fenway Racing has put a lot of effort into the Speedway program, and it showed with our performance at Talladega. I believe the Fords are going to be really tough tomorrow. I think Jeff Gordon, he looked really fast. It looked like that David Gilliland and David Raikkonen were really fast too. So I think there are a couple fast cars, but we're one of them.
Well, there you go. Carl starting 12th tomorrow night in the 400 here at Daytona.
How much of this tandem style racing will we see tomorrow night?
I don't know that we'll see too much of it, but I'll tell you what, when the sun went down, the final practice, there was a lot more grip than I thought there was going to be. So I think guys will be able to be really aggressive. I mean, they were always aggressive, but I think you'll be able to make things happen.
Especially
tomorrow.
at the end when it is cool.
Correct. I think that's going to be the key is all that grip.
Two guys that have been pushing each other around the racetrack, now side by side for the restart. Don't change lanes before you cross that line. You'll get a penalty.
And there you go. He pulls right down in front. They'll probably go right back to what they were doing before.
Yeah, we talked about this and what a great job Joey is doing so they don't have to switch. You mentioned that. But it's pretty smart on their part, too, that they've got their championship contender being the one out front, taking no chance, keeping all the cool air to his engine right now to where maybe later on he can use it up a little more, too.
Right, and it's very difficult, too. One of the things, I'm not sure if you guys have talked about it, while they're out there trying to lead, when you're in a tandem group like that, when you're tied together, the guys try to pull up on the rear car and slow him down. And the front car has to know that it's happening, almost, use telepathy or something to figure out to lift off of the throttle. It's really hard to stay together when guys are taking stabs at you and trying to pull you apart.
Elliott Sadler pushed to the lead by Kurt Busch. Here come Hornish and Logano back to the outside.
That's a big point for Elliott Sadler to get a lap led here as he's got himself back in contention for this nationwide championship. It was amazing, though, as they started, those two Fords hooked up pretty quickly. Kurt Busch was about 5 or 6 car lengths back, but made a big run and got the Elliott's bumper and must have given him a pretty big shove.
Yeah, check out this run. Kyle Larson, his teammate James Buscher, getting a big push.
32 and 34. Now, this is where it gets dicey in this tandem drafting. When you get a big run on somebody and you're trying to find a hole.
You talk about dicey. You can't see through the car in front of you. I mean, if you look how they're offsetting, you're staring at the middle of the guy's car in front of you, and it's almost impossible to figure out where he's going. You just have to have faith he's making the right decision.
A few years ago when this first started, and you were one of them that was kind of there to start these things, but then you got in radio communication with each other. Then that kind of helped the guy in the back a little bit, didn't it? But then that's been taken away. And
it helped a lot because you watch these guys, they're acting as one car. You look at the first two cars there. Oh, they actually got pulled apart a little bit. That'll let these Fords on the outside get a run. You're acting as one car, and to try to know what the guy in front of you is doing without that radio communication is very tough.
Kyle Busch down below that yellow line. As long as he doesn't advance his position, he'll be fine. Remember here at Daytona and at Talladega, that yellow line is out of bounds at the bottom of the racetrack. You can't go below it and advance your position, but if you're forced below it, then the one who does the forcing may be penalized.
It's a big judgment call in NASCAR's part. They've had to lay down some pretty hefty calls in the past over that.
Matt Kenseth, Justin Allgaier running up to try and challenge Hornish and Logano. Here's the race between Sadler and Vickers for what would be 5th place. And for the lead.
As we watched them duck out, they actually came apart because the 18 car got a little pull from the side draft of the 22, and it pulled him away from the 31 car. Those are the kind of things I'm talking about. You have to be so in tune with that guy that you're with, just like Joey and Hornish are. You have to really know when that car in front's got a little jump or the car in back's getting pulled. Because as soon as you separate, you can't get back instantly. It takes a lot of slowing down to get them back together.
And I have to think these Penske guys have done a really good job with their ductwork, cooling system. Even though Joey's doing an excellent job of offsetting his car to get air to it, you have to have that cooling system working right.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. And he really is doing a masterful job of pushing. I mean, it's like pushing a wheelbarrow. He's pushing just on the right handle right now. And you can spin that car out in front of you so easily. I did it mistakenly, spun out. Greg Biffle wrecked the whole field at Talladega. And there are a couple of guys out there who are just masters at it. They're very good at it. Looks like Joey's doing a great job.
On board Regan Smith.
Regan Smith's another one that finds himself, you notice that car up towards the front at the end of these plate races all the time. He does a great job in this.
You're right, he does.
Carl Edwards joining us just past halfway in tonight's Subway Firecracker 250 at Daytona. Sam Hornish in the 12 has led the most laps tonight by far. He and Joey Logano executing the tandem draft to perfection, but still got a long way to go until we see the checkered flag. Went halfway without a caution. Now it's pretty intense after the restart. In the Subway Firecracker 250 at Daytona, Justin Allgaier has just drafted up to take the lead with a push from Matt Kenseth, 31 and 18. They brought some company with him. 34, James Buescher, 32, Kyle Larson. Shuffling Sam Hornish and Joey Logano, who've dominated so much of this race, back into the pack.
Not for long. Looks like they're hooked back up now. You can see Joey Logano more lined up on the rear bumper, and you can see just how much more push he's giving Sam Hornish.
Yeah, now they've gotten set. They've been able to separate the 31 and the 18. Makes them look even faster yet.
Joey Logano just is very impressive at this style of racing.
Man, that's tight.
He's just doing such a good job. And if you talk about the stress involved in this type of racing, the guy pushing has a huge amount. There's more anxiety, more stress, more nervousness because you can't see what's going on in front of you. And that's what Greg Biffle and I used to work so well together. And Greg could handle it. He could sit in the back and stare at the rear bumper and push all day. I couldn't handle that pressure. So there's definitely guys that are better at pushing and guys that can't take it.
If you're not the lead dog, the scenery never changes, does it?
Man, I'm telling you, sitting
looking
there,
at that rear bumper.
What Joey's doing is very difficult.
And this is more what we expected when we came on and talked about what an exciting race. This is what we were talking about, the tandem and pack racing kind of together.
Yeah, what you got is tandems that are acting like one car, so you get a pack.
A little less water, you know. But one back bottom, two back up high. The high lane's coming to you with the 1 and 54.
Joey Meyer spotting for Joey Logano there on the radio. Hornish back to the lead. You know, it's interesting. We went the first half of this race without a yellow flag, and I got to thinking that there were a lot of people taking a very cautious strategy. But things got pretty spread out in that opening 50 laps. Now, all of a sudden, hey, that finish isn't as far off, and we can't afford to hang as far back.
Well, everybody probably noticed, oh, man, this thing can go 50 laps without a caution. Everybody realizes, whoa, don't let that happen and be caught a half a lap down. There are still some guys back there. You know, Trevor Bayne, Travis Pastrana hanging back, waiting for that wreck. And if history tells you anything, they're going to have some cautions in this race.
Sam Hornish already led 48 laps. That's more laps than anybody's ever led here. I think it's in the last 2 races combined.
How different, Carl, when you're doing this, when you watch it, when you're here watching it on TV versus being behind the wheel?
That's a good question. If I hadn't done it, I would think, well, this is normal, this is calm. But after being in that car and realizing, I mean, right here from this view, you get the picture. There are cars pushing each other, coming and going. You're 3 wide into the corner. You're being buffeted around. It's really stressful, guys. I mean, that is not easy to do.
Oh, and you're doing 185 miles an hour.
So you understand why my hair is white, right? Not hard to figure out doing this all those years.
I think I'm starting to get a touch of gray.
James Buescher to the lead.
And I've been watching Kyle Larson. He's doing a lot of the same kind of pushing that we see Joey Logano doing. He's been staying right there on James Buescher.
We talked a lot about Kyle Larson all year, Carl. I know you don't think you've raced with him or against him yet, but what are your thoughts on this young man?
Obviously, he's impressive. I mean, it's unreal, his ability behind the wheel. That race at Bristol was awesome. I mean, coming on at the end and almost getting the win. And you look at these guys, they're having to switch. So he must see more than he likes on that temperature gauge. But being the leader, we haven't seen a leader switch like that in this race, have we?
Yeah, it could probably be that, plus a chance maybe here to get him a lap lead. Not going to happen here, though.
Not with Cole
he is still in.
He just dropped the hammer.
Yeah.
Here comes Cole Trickle. The Busch brothers. Kurt to the lead. Kyle behind him, his drafting partner. Cole Wick, 44. One of the underdogs with a run in the draft up toward the front.
I have yet to see the 12 and the 22 car get split apart. Have you guys seen them split apart?
No, they've been just like that too. Joey Logano's been on the bumper that 12 since the start of the race.
And remember, that front guy, his responsibility is to lift off of the throttle as soon as he feels the push go away. So it's very difficult for the guy in front. And then the guy in the rear, it's his job not to push that front car into a wreck. And
that's the one thing. I've been giving Joey a lot of credit for the way he's pushing, but you got to give half of that to Sam because it does take a lot from the guy in front.
Yes, as soon as that rear car gets a little bit of drag or he gets centered up on the car in front of him, he can push the front car away. If there was, I don't know how you can tell other than a really good spotter.
Okay, you're 180 some miles an hour. How easy is it for you to tell that that car is not attached to you anymore?
When Greg and I would do it, if I was in front, I literally could not tell if he was pushing or not. So I always had to fudge a little bit I had to push less throttle down than I really wanted to and make sure he stayed stuck. And then everybody got better and you started watching the mirror. And as soon as someone would get beside Greg behind me, I'd know that they were slowing him down, so I'd lift. But it takes a lot of discipline. It's very tough.
Well, when you joined us for the broadcast at Talladega, I told you you've never seen a race from this view before. We appreciate you coming up and enjoying the view again. This is something else.
Thank you, guys. And well, I'll bring Subway next time. I do appreciate Subway having me up here, and the Subway Firecracker 250. It's very cool of them to do.
We're going to hold you to it now.
Yeah,
I know you will.
To go with it, we'll have to have a little something there.
Best of luck tomorrow.
All right, thanks, guys.
Don't miss the finish of this one. It's going to be good.
I might stay for a little while. Thanks.
There you go. Back to Daytona in a minute. Back live at Daytona under caution. Big plume of smoke from under Reed Sorensen's car up in turns 3 and 4. And he turns it into the garage area, bringing out just the second yellow of this race. Does that qualify as a big plume of smoke?
Yeah, something real important under the hood broke.
Reed going to the garage, joining Joey Gase and Morgan Shepherd. Gase has come back after coasting down the pit lane a little while ago. Shepherd went out with rear gear problems earlier in the race. While the pace car has picked up the field, be a second before they come back around. A quick up to speed with Nationwide Insurance. Mike?
And one of the Dash for Cash contenders is Elliott Sadler. Remember back in February, Alan, this car ran really hot. So this team came in really leery. They changed their cooling system before this race, but it hasn't made much of a difference. Elliott has been a little bit hot after about 7 laps of being hooked up. Because of that, he's had a lot of difficulty pushing in the tandem draft. Another one of the Dash for Cash contenders is Kyle Larson. Larson, this is only his second time here in Daytona, and as far as restrictor plate races have gone for him this year, well, he's been involved in crashes both times, so he spent extra time on the track this week trying to get acclimated. Out there right now, his crew chief told me he's just riding around trying to find someone to run with, Dave.
Mike, this chance at $100,000 came at a good time for Austin Dillon in terms of development of their car. It wasn't good at Talladega. Crew chief Danny Stockman told me he was ecstatic with this car in practice. So far, he's been trying to find his brother to draft to the front. Dr. Jerry Punch?
Well, Dave, it has been 10 years and 3,576 days since Brian Vickers has won a NASCAR Nationwide Series race back in 2003. He thinks he has the car to get it done tonight. A little bit free when being pushed. They're going to make an adjustment. He thinks they're good on fuel now making this stop. He thinks this is the race. He's going to get the win, the points, and $100,000 from Nationwide Dash for Cash. Alan?
And right behind Brian Vickers, Doc Cole Witt in that 44 car will be glad for this caution because he's got a windshield tear off kind of flapping around on that machine. He'll be happy for the chance to get that tear off torn off.
Yeah, and the pits still weren't open there. They're getting oil dried down on that oil as Reed Sorensen came down pit road and went to the garage area.
Of course, Kurt Busch, James Finch, and the Phoenix team running that Days of Thunder paint scheme tonight, trying to use the publicity to raise awareness for the cause of post-traumatic stress disorder.
Well, it's time for a pit stop, but I don't know if they're going to have anybody to do it.
Well, I don't know about that either, but if they do
might
come
be a
in, do you
little
think he's got that perfectly matched set of tires for him?
I think they probably do, but they're probably not going to put them on here.
They're not? No. Just going to get 2 of them?
Just gas, probably.
That's easier for Robert Duvall to say.
It was, yes. That's why he does what he does. What I do.
Well, there you go. What a great
Maybe
cause.
the gas man's not eating ice cream.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, he and his brother, though, teamed up right there. I think they probably found what they were looking for and know what they can kind of do to get themselves to the front when that counts. We saw that here a couple years ago.
Remember, in the tandem draft, the cooling of the car pushing, such a critical issue. Kyle Busch had a problem under the hood in the February race here, so it appears as though he's being very conservative in how long he pushes in the draft for the first 70 laps of this race. And Kurt Busch, we saw earlier in the race, pushing water out of that one car after he was pushing too long.
We saw it briefly, but we haven't seen it again, and obviously not causing him any problems, sitting right there in 3rd spot.
Now, the pit road is still closed while they clean up some of the oil left behind by Reed Sorensen when he coasted to the garage. We'll come back for the pit stops. Pit road just open. Doc?
Popsicles are gone. Time for pit stops here for the one crew for Kurt Busch. Going to be right side tires. They're going to wait on fuel. Got to get it full of fuel. Worried about a green-white checkered here at Daytona. Mike.
Greg Irwin telling his driver the same play as last time. That means fuel only, no adjustments.
Regan Smith upper right. He'll take 2 right sides and avoid Jeffrey Earnhardt coming in the 79. And the 22 of Logano, you saw, no fresh tires, just filled it full of fuel.
Well, variety of strategies there. Like we expected.
See, Dillon picked up 12 spots, though. Gas only.
Going to be a frantic final 25 laps at Daytona. Don't go away. Restarts coming up. Over the fortnight. Under caution, our ESPN in-race reporter Kurt Busch tonight is he's been right in the mix all night in that Days of Thunder theme #1 car.
Hey, Kurt, Dale Jerry, you have a copy?
10-4, DJ.
Hey, man, we know that business starts picking up in these last 25 laps. Looks like you've got the car to get the job done, but may have lost your draft partner. Have you got any plans right now?
Yeah, Rowdy's been working with us today, and we got a couple other of these guys out here. Just got one rookies. I'm going to beat some back bumpers off here for a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't come through and poke a hole in our radiator, but we've still got a little ways to go. A few more cautions.
Okay, good luck, man. Thanks for talking.
Now, when they start spinning, I'm just for the...
Well, some movie lines, Fast and Furious. You might say they're flat flying, Nicole, with these Days of Thunder references tonight.
I don't know if I would, but Rusty definitely would. So tonight, what surprised you the most? Because I think the thing that surprised me the most is the fact that Sam Hornish Jr. has led 56 laps. He's never to lead more than 5.
That is a big surprise, but the other thing that really surprised me, guys, was watching early, how they're just 2 by 2, and I'm going, man, this is looking pretty boring. I don't know if this is right or not. Then all of a sudden, the sun went down, it got dark, and all of a sudden, business started really picking up, running side by side. I don't know about you guys, but this intensity, man, I can feel it picking up right now.
It's definitely picking up, and the thing for me was Travis Pastrana and Trevor Bayne early on, dropping back to the back, trying to stay out of the wrecks. Well, after this series of pit stops, Trevor Bayne comes out. He's now 6. Travis Pastrana is way back in 26. Who's he going to draft with? Because we know he's got a super fast race car sitting on the outside pole.
This race has always been about being calculated as a driver, but I'm surprised by all the discipline. Drivers are just sort of staying in order. The first 90% is rehearsal. We know that. The drivers obviously know that. The last 10%, as you say, Rusty, is intense and real.
There's something else that I know. The restart, going to be good. Alan?
Well, we're at the 75% mark of this race and still got a quarter of it to go. Kyle Busch will restart 28th. Trevor Bayne back there as well after the pit stop at the 1-to-go signal. Joey Logano with lane choice. Now it's Sam Hornish who's there to push Logano in the draft, but they're coming after him, headed to 1.
A lot of pushing and shoving right now. Sam Hornish is caught in the middle going backwards.
Brian Vickers to the lead. I don't think that was in the plan for the 12. Now what's Logano do? Does he go back and find him?
It's not like he can just slam on the brakes right here. He's getting a huge push from Regan Smith right now.
Statistical trend, 2 cautions in the last 25 laps of these nationwide races at Daytona.
I'm shocked if we didn't add to that tonight. See Kurt Busch there in that 1 car is hooked up with Austin Dillon, who was the pole sitter.
Oh, trouble. All the way into the grass is Vickers.
What you got going on?
Stay green, but Brian Vickers have to come down pit road immediately to get that grass off the grill.
From the lead into the grass.
Wow. We talked talked about being out on the right rear of these cars. Just how quickly, just any move right there. Carl Edwards alluded to it too whenever he was up here, that you really have to be careful in that situation.
So who finds himself leading this race now? Kyle Larson, the rookie, in the 32.
Hey, we watched he and Justin Allgaier do a lot of drafting together yesterday in this tandem style situation. Their cars were very good.
See Kurt Busch pushing Austin Dillon, but Austin had his hands full right there.
So after that shuffle at the front, where Joey Logano lost his drafting partner in the mix-up, Regan Smith was pushing him. Logano's dropping back in the pack a little bit. Is he going to get Sam Hornish? Yes.
There's your answer. I bet you we see Joey Logano line more square on the rear bumper of this 12 as they push up to the front to try to get back to that lead. We only have about 20 laps to go.
Yeah, they want to get away from this pack first and foremost, and so they're going to do that while they can right now. You're right, Andy. Till they get back in that situation that they want to be in, they're going to make maximum speed here.
And as we get closer to the finish, you'll begin to see some people shuffling up to the front and then toward the back, up to the front, toward the back. How about 99, Alex Bowman, the red, white, and black car, who finished third at Daytona in his Nationwide Series debut at this Speedway back in February, has driven a conservative race, hanging around in that single file pack toward the back. Now it's time to go.
He's got no choice but to go right now with Kyle Busch on your bumper.
New leader, Allgaier and Larson pull the swap. That'll give Matt Kenseth, James Buescher, and oh yeah, Hornish and Logano a chance to run back to the front.
Bowman and Kyle Busch get separated. That combination of Joey Logano and Sam Hornish is just almost unbeatable tonight.
Well, just as we saw in that last restart, circumstances conspired to pull them apart. If it happens later in the race, they may not have enough time to recover.
They don't need a lot of time. It didn't take them long to get back in the front.
33 cars on the lead lap. Ryan Vickers has gone back to 33rd place after getting turned into the grass from the race lead a minute ago. Eric McClure got the free pass at the last caution. He's also on the lead lap. Remember, Kyle Busch in that 54 restarted in 28th place a minute ago. Separated from his drafting partner now and given up a couple of spots, but we obviously know he's got a strong car and can run back to the front. 17 to go.
Drive in the morning, drive through the night, drive down the highway.
The race for the lead in the Subway Firecracker 250 at Daytona. Inviting you to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. 14 laps to go. Intense racing at the front of the pack, pushing and shoving. And the race's dominant duo, Sam Hornish in the 12 and Joey Logano in the 22, now finding a lot of resistance as they try to get back to the #1 spot.
Hey, James Buescher done a nice job behind Matt Kenseth. Matt knows what he's doing in this type of situation too, but James Buescher doing a nice job of keeping his car cool enough, staying there, but to keep them out front.
That was Mike Wallace's 0-1 car off the pace.
See Kurt Busch with nobody to help and draft with right now.
3 and 77. Austin Dillon in the 3 started on pole. 77 Parker Kligerman got a lap down early in the race. Got a free pass at the first caution at lap 48. Now he's up there racing for the lead. Black white car with the red numerals down the inside lane.
Austin Dillon's had a handful of partners tonight too. I expected to see him running with his brother Ty. See
Kyle Busch and Elliott Sadler, they've been working together, trying to work their way back up there. But these Toyotas they're very cautious, and especially Elliott in a championship battle, not wanting to overheat this engine. Still a long way to go.
Officials watching to see if Mike Wallace will make it back around to the pit lane. His car without power. Kenseth 18, 12 Hornish, side by side for the lead. There's the Wallace car. Caution for Mike Wallace.
Out, Matt. Caution's out. Caution's out.
There's one of your 2 cautions in the final 25. What happened to Mike, Doc?
It's a battery issue, got some kind of electrical problem, got no voltage, it shut off, wouldn't refire. They tried to go to a backup battery with a toggle switch, wouldn't do anything. They think they've got a wiring issue somewhere in the electronics, so he may not make it back. That's why they yelled.
For the garage, we'll check it in there.
So 3rd caution of this race, coming out with 11 laps to go, now 10, as the leaders come back around.
Well, we saw it pick up quite a bit on this last restart. I think the next one we see is going to be even more intense.
And because they're getting in a situation now that the pushing, they can almost going to be able to go the distance in being able to do that. And they're getting so close to the end anyway, they're not going to worry as much about it.
Don't expect to see a whole rash of pit stops here because the leaders were just on the pit lane.
Got enough fuel, and power is really not an issue. Everybody's kind of positioned to build the race.
You're behind the wheel. That caution's just come out. It's been intense. The tension's been building. Now the caution's come out. Is it an exhale moment, or is it, okay, it's going to get even worse when we go back racing?
Well, you exhale and breathe while you can, because once a green flag comes back out, you're not sure if you're breathing or not until everything's over, because it does get intense. You grip the steering wheel a little bit tighter, and you know that there's just going to be a lot more pushing and shoving at this time.
Pit road going to be open here. And we'll see if there are any takers among the front runners.
Yeah, another point as these guys get ramped up and ready to go through this is those holds that they didn't take a chance of maybe pushing into earlier, now they're going to do it, and that's what's going to create the contact and more than likely something happening.
Sam Hornish called as the leader at the caution by NASCAR's timing and scoring system. The clue that we'll see pit here would be Brian Vickers to get that grass off the grill after the slide through the stretch infield a few minutes ago while he was leading. Well, we're set up for another frantic finish here at Daytona like we've seen the last few Nationwide Series races. Remember this, February of 12, James Busch running 9th in turn 3 on the final lap, and they all crash ahead of him, and he's the first one to get through and wins the race. Kurt Busch, this race a year ago, after pitting 6 times to repair a car wrecked with 35 to go, comes through and wins the race. And then in February, Regan Smith and Brad Keselowski racing for the win, coming to the checkers, setting off that terrible, frightening crash that saw Tony Stewart find his way through to win the race. And all that at the finish. So we had one from the 4-time champ earlier before the start of the race. He's still watching. Yeah, Jeff, I agree.
Yeah, we had actually 2 big ones at the end of the February race.
Yeah.
And many would ask, the drivers all know it, why do they do it and continue to do it? And it's about having the opportunity to visit Victor Lane at Daytona.
So coming to the green, that'll be with 7 laps to go. Sam Hornish chooses the inside lane in front of Joey Logano. Matt Kenseth has the guy he was drafting with before the yellow, James Buescher, behind him. 32 cars on the lead lap. Here we go. 12 and 22 got separated for the slightest moment, and look at the charge to their outside.
Yeah, and I saw the 3-car Austin Dillon jump up. He must have made a deal with Parker Kligerman in that 77 to get hooked up together, because he went straight to the outside lane as soon as he got across the start-finish line.
That combination has been working well. The 77 car was a lap down early in this race.
Ooh, close there in 3. Elliott Sadler with a wiggle when Kyle Busch tried to get behind him. Everybody scattered. Oh, contact there. 4 wide.
They made it through that time.
They're going to close in on a car running slower right here, and something's going to have to give.
44 Cole Witt looking for a drafting partner.
Yeah, he's got a fast race car. He just needs somebody on his bumper.
Look at that angry pack of cars. Hornish to the outside. 12. Kenseth 18 to the inside for the lead. Coming to 5 to go.
Boy, this 12 and 22 combination is just so strong.
Yeah, you want to watch the race for the lead. You want to watch that pack.
They just can't keep up with everything going on. Austin Dillon there has such a big run, just had nowhere to go. Parker Kligerman right on his bumper. They had to back off. Now they've lost it a little bit, but they're back far enough to really make a good run and possibly get to the outside now. Here comes Sadler and Kyle Busch too.
Hornish and Logano kind of stalled out there in the draft. Get shuffled all the way back to 7th and 8th. Austin Dillon to the outside for the lead. 3-car.
Oh, trouble.
Trouble, turn 4. Hard crash. Jeffrey Earnhardt, 77.
Everybody behind you crashed.
24, Jason White. Travis Pastrana in the 60. And Robert Richardson in the 23.
I'm good. I'm good.
Hard hit for Jason White. Jeffrey Earnhardt heading to the garage. Travis Pastrana's car all torn up. The red flag is going to be displayed to clean up the mess from the accident in turn 4 that's put us under the yellow flag with 4 laps to go. Pastrana taking the helmet off inside his car, and there's the field stopped on the backstretch. Well, Jeff Gordon said you could see it coming. Jason White up on his feet. Good to see. DJ, I know you know what it's like to be in one of those hard crashes here at Daytona.
Yeah, it's just so difficult, and especially here later in the race too, where you're a little fatigued and you've got your belts made. Hopefully everybody tightened them up before that last call started. We'll see right here.
Yeah, you can see right here is Travis Pastrana, and the intensity level was just really getting up there. Everybody trying to make a hole.
You can see he's trying to follow his teammate Trevor Bayne to the inside there, who had made a move to the inside. He was trying to get there and just wasn't quite clear of Cole Witt in the 44.
A pretty hard lick for both Jason White and Travis Pastrana.
Yeah, and for Jason White, what you get is you're getting hit plus slammed into the wall and not expecting any of it right at that time. See, right here, Trevor Bayne in this 6 will go down to the bottom as he's trying to get away from Brian Vickers. Pastrana thinks that he's got enough to clear there, but he just wasn't clear of the 44.
Brian Scott did a good job right there to not get involved.
And Jamie Dick, that 55, nice job to gather that one back up too. That was pointed toward the infield.
Yeah, sparks flying everywhere out of his car.
Yeah. Travis Pastrana after the wreck in his car.
Okay, next time we go to the front, we just did. Yep. Oh, you guys make one hell of a car. Oh.
Well, you can tell. That's just, you know, that stuff hurts. I mean, it still hurts, even though those walls are what they call them a little bit softer. It still hurts when you hit them.
Yeah, it's a safer barrier, and even though it lessens the impact somewhat, it's still a hard hit and literally knocks the breath out of you. And you could hear that from Travis there.
So the field stopped, as you see, under the red flag, with 4 laps to go in this race, and a lot more coming toward the finish. There was the second of the 2 cautions in the final 25 laps that the numbers tell us historically have happened here at Daytona. That one started with Travis Pastrana and Cole Witt in turn 4. Setting up for what is likely to be a 2-lap sprint to the finish here at Daytona after a grinding 4-car crash in turn number 4 has put us under the red flag and necessitated a fairly hefty cleanup up there in the corner.
You can see here once again, Travis Pastrana is trying to follow his teammate there. They've been hooked up, Trevor Bayne in the 6 car. Just about a foot shy of being clear of Cole Witt in the 44. Creates an accident. Now, the drivers that were out in front that were battling for the win at this point in time don't really have any idea because they haven't been back around to know exactly what happened. They just know that it's kind of typical of what goes on at the end of these races.
So as they sit under the red flag, Matt Kenseth is the race leader. Sam Hornish and Joey Logano, who've been in the tandem draft, the Penske teammates, and led 67 of 96 laps in this race. Nobody else has led more than 5 in the entire race. Sam's led 67, pushed for the entirety of that time by Logano. Well, now they find themselves back 9th and 10th in line. Haven't been that far back all night. What do you think's going on inside the helmets of those 2 drivers?
I think they're coming to the front. I really do. I think this has been obviously the strongest combo the whole night long. I know they're back in the 5th row, but they're going to be coming to the front, and you're not going to see anybody offsetting to keep the cars cool. They're going to be pushing just as hard as they can under this situation. They don't care how much water they blow out from here to the end.
Yeah, the key's going to be how quickly can they get lined up because they're going to be starting side by side, not nose to tail. So it's going to take a little bit of time, and then what impedes their progress? They're going to have plenty of speed. We've seen that. But if it's 2 and 3 wide up in front of them, that leaves you nowhere to go. And once you have to back out just a little bit, you're probably not going to get all the way to the front.
Maybe a little insight on what the radio conversations have been like from pit road. Here's Mike.
And as you just mentioned, Sam Hornish finds himself in a little bit of a different spot than what he's been accustomed throughout the evening. We catch up with his crew chief, Greg Irwin, now. You guys have been out front most of the night. Now you have to make your way through traffic. What is the mindset and the plan in the closing laps here?
Just try and get the best restart we can. Joey's done a terrific job helping us out all night, keeping us up front, and those two guys have been working really well together. So I think we'll get geared up nice and clean here and try and pick a lane, maybe go where they're not, and the fans are going to see a heck of a finish here. I think it's going to be terrific.
I would have to agree with Greg. It's going to be exciting. Let's go over to Dave.
Like Jeremy Bellin says, crew chief, the mostly second-place car tonight for Joey Logano. They restart side by side, and the last restart didn't go that great. How do they make this work?
Well, you know, the Discount Tire Mustang's been great all night. Our teammates with the PPG Mustang have been great. We've been doing most of the pushing. Our car's been a little better pushing. They've been good up front. Last restart, we didn't get hooked up like we needed to. Kind of lost some ground there, but I think if we can get hooked up again, we'll have some time to try to get the Penske 1-2 here.
Looks like they're working on that Penske 1-2 really hard, Doc.
Well, Matt Lucas calling the shots for Matt Kenseth. Now, they've got a very difficult decision to make here, and because of what NASCAR is telling them is going to be the lineup on the restart. Matt, explain how difficult this is and why it's tough for you.
Well, we're going to line up first. The 30 is second, 34 third, so it makes a decision on where Matt would start. We've had really good restarts from the outside, but to keep our partner, the 34, we're going to have to start on the inside. So Matt's going to have to think about whether he wants to go with someone up and outside who's never helped him tonight, or stay with the 34. And I think that that's what he's thinking about in the car right now, trying to figure out which way to go.
Tough choice for Matt Kenseth. Lane choice versus a good drafting partner. Let's check in with Shannon Spake.
Travis Pastrana released from the infield care center. Travis, we heard your radio after that hit, and we could hear how you kind of had to catch your breath for a second. Are you all right?
Oh, no, I'm good. Everything's fine. Just point. I knocked the wind out of myself when I hit the wall, and I was trying to tell him I was okay, but I was kind of dumb over the radio. But, no, I mean, our plan was you know, to wait in the back and avoid that kind of stuff. We knew we'd have to push it towards the end, but I came down just a little bit right there and got a hold of the 44 of the 2, and it hit the wall. It doesn't look that bad, but it clobbered it pretty good. So I was just trying to, Trevor was my ride. I was trying to stay on him, but we got caught up. We had the 2 fastest cars, you know, pretty much in the tandem draft. We could go fast and leader. We were just trying to stay out of everyone's all the crashes. And once he was behind me, he was like, he's not going. So he passed me. I was like, all right, well, that's my ride. And I don't know. I felt like I was on my line, but he came up a little bit, and you know, that's racing. It's just really frustrating. We had high expectations.
Closing laps at Daytona, it just gets crazy out there. Was it a case of you just thinking that you were clear as you went to follow Trevor?
No, I knew I wasn't clear, but I probably could have given him a little bit more room up. When you pass someone on the top, you take their wind off. So, you know, he didn't. If he hugged the line, we'd have been all good. I just knew that I wanted to be on Trevor, and Trevor started to, you know, he was going down. And I said, all right, or that's my ride. If we want to win this race, I have to stay on him. And you know, I just want to thank everyone at Red Bull, all my sponsors, KMC, you guys. Thanks for sticking with me. We've been qualifying better. We're getting faster. We're going to win one of these things, so thanks, guys.
Good to see you all right, Travis. Nicole?
9-minute and 49-second red flag. The cars are rolling, so we're back under yellow. You know, that was the first big one of our night, but here's something to keep in mind. 2 of the last 3 Daytona races here have ended under yellow, so we may not be done.
I don't think we're done at all. I mean, we talked about intensity this whole time, guys. I mean, with just 4 laps to go, this is going to be unreal. You know these guys are going to be all jacked up, ready to go. You know another wreck's going to happen. I hope it doesn't. But wow, let's take a look at this wreck right here. I really think that Travis beat up on himself a little too much. The 44 car, in my opinion, of Cole Witt had about 6-8 foot below him. He could have pulled this thing down a little bit and avoided that wreck. Although this is racing, I realize we're at Daytona, but to put the blame on Travis, I'm not in the mood to do that right now, because I think it was both these guys that caused it. You see the distance. Cole could have come down a little bit, gave a little more room, Brad.
Well, I think they were going for the same spot as they go through the corner. I think they were really racing hard, and Travis was wanting to get to the bumper of Trevor Bayne. I think they both got to the same spot at the same time, so just one of those racing incidents, I believe.
So we talk about the first 90% of the race. They're rehearsing, they're understanding what they can and cannot do. Now it's that urgency. I got to go. Dismiss the idea of lifting. Dismiss the idea of being gracious or courteous.
Yeah.
You're going to see more of this, because the red flag has these drivers sitting in the car trying to think and visualize, how am I going to play these last 2 laps?
Well, right now, I think they almost have to get rid of their partner. They're going to hold on to that partner all they can, but boy, I tell you, with 1 lap to go, you're going to go with the fastest car. You don't care if it's your partner or not. You got to go what's going to help you win the race, and that's the decision right now Matt Kenseth has got to make.
And I think, Alan, at this point, what they're saying is forget about that give stuff. It's all take.
Yeah.
Pretty much is what we've come to expect.
Yeah, the thing is, you talk about a partner. Now, you may not get matched up with who you want to do, but you have to have a partner to win this race. You can't, if you get separated, then you have no chance.
Matt Kenseth will be the leader for the restart. That'll come with 2 laps to go.
A lot on the line. Dasher Cash is on a lot of lines.
Here. You know, the outside guys are going to try to suck air off his door and pull him off me. So tell him to, stay as tight, push as hard and straight as he can until we clear them guys. Once we clear him, he can do it. Whatever he's been doing a great job. So just try to watch me.
Kenseth talking about relaying a message to James Buescher, his young drafting partner, who will be lined up behind him for this restart. So 29 cars on the lead lap. 2 laps to go at Daytona. And they're going to wave off the restart. Don't have them lined up in the proper order. And going to get the 1 to go signal here again. While they get the restart order lined up and come back around on this pace lap, Jason White has been released from the medical center. Shannon?
It's definitely good to see Jason White out of the medical center. We saw you get out of the car and we saw you drop to the ground. What were the areas of concern? What were you feeling?
Well, it just kind of took the breath out of me a little bit. It's pretty hard hit, but, had a good car just coming through the field and, everybody just bunched up there. Just one of those things happens.
How you feeling right now?
I'm feeling fine. Just got to get a little rest. I'll be okay tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Jason. Guys?
Glad to see and hear that Jason is okay, but again, a hard shot into the outside wall there in that 24 car. So, by the virtue of waving off that and adding that 1 lap of caution, that puts us into overtime, essentially. So we go to the first attempt at a green-white checker finish, which is not uncommon for these July Nationwide Series races here at Daytona.
It's going to be hard to get this one to the end without another one, too.
And I'm still not sure that they're lined up properly. You see, Joey Logano is definitely not.
He's not in either lane.
There is a lot of radio traffic from race control to spotters. They're telling Kurt Busch he belongs in the inside lane behind Sam Hornish, where he is now. So again, 28 cars on the lead lap, 2 laps to go. Green-white checker rules as you look at the restart order. We restart the race. If they make it back around to the white flag, the next flag ends the race, be it the checkered or the yellow. Pace car is off. Watch the 12 and the 22. See if they can get back to the front.
Be ready, go.
Now the 77's off the 3. That's going to hurt him right now. Hurt that chances. That 3 got 100,000 reasons to try to win this race. That dash for cash money.
Elliott Sadler in position for that 100,000 now. Sam Hornish gets up to 4th behind Sadler. Logano getting pushed out of traffic by Justin Allgaier, left of the screen. Regan Smith there, pushed by Kyle Busch. While out front, Kenseth and Buescher have gotten away. Here they come to the white flag.
Hornish jumps out and leaves Sadler there. Hornish is trying to get over to Logano. He's there. I don't know if they've got enough time to get back there, though. They're going to have a huge run.
We're on the last lap. Does something happen before they get to the finish? And who gets to the finish first?
Got about 3/4 of a second to make up.
They've got enough time. Yeah, it's just a matter of if this gets all the way back without the caution coming out. Not sure how likely that is here.
A lot of contact in that pack.
Oh. This
there
is behind
goes
everything.
Brad Sweet gathers it back up. 3 wide, but it's for 3rd place. Kenseth and James Buescher well out in front as they come to turn 4.
A lot of pushing and shoving right here.
His instructions for tactics on the last restart work. Matt Kenseth gets pushed to the victory at Daytona. And somehow they get through those final 2 laps without another major incident.
Wow, that's unbelievable. I'd have never believed with all the contact that was taking place there.
That was some good driving right there.
Good job, guys. Thanks.
It's Matt Lucas's first win as a crew chief. A happy man right there. Well deserved.
Well, we heard Matt Kenseth giving instructions to his spotter to give to James Buescher about their tactics on the restart, and it worked. Buescher was able to push him clear of Austin Dillon, and they got away while everybody else was racing for third. Doc, I'm just guessing that Matt Lucas is going to be smiling all night.
And wiping some tears from his eyes. 2 years of crew chief. You worked so hard to get here. Congratulations on your first win as a crew chief.
Thank you, Doc. It's a great feeling. It's good to be here finally. We've had a lot of close ones, and Matt Kenseth did a heck of a job tonight. I got to thank Nationwide Insurance for putting these races on, GameStop and Nyko for coming on board this weekend, and Matt for just driving a heck of a race. JD and Joe Gibbs gave me such a great opportunity, and I was thankful for that, and I'm just happy to be here right now.
Let's go back to Alabama. What an emotional day for this guy. He waited so long, an engineer for A.J. Foyt at IndyCar when he went to win, and now he comes to NASCAR and gets his first victory as a crew chief. AB?
There'll be a lot of pretty happy people here. Matt Kenseth and his team, they won at Daytona. Elliott Sadler gets the Nationwide Insurance Dash for cash. And all the team owners who got their cars in those frantic last 2 laps.
They're happy too.
Austin Dillon did a great job after falling back there on that restart. He just got the 77 car couldn't stay attached to him there. Yeah, but he fought his way back for a 5th place finish. That'll put him in the dash for cash next week, providing they all pass inspection.
Well, Matt Kenseth has certainly been one of the hottest drivers of his 2013 season. The 4 wins on the NASCAR Sprint Cup side. And here getting the breakthrough win with the Joe Gibbs team in the Nationwide Series. His first with them.
I tell you, Matt, he's such an incredible talent. I said this past week that I knew he was great, but I think he's better than I thought he was. I mean, he's just done so many things and won his 4 races so far in the Cup Series, and now getting his first Nationwide Series win in a while.
Yeah, he's just he understands this type of racing so good now too that, and he embraces it. He likes to do it, and he puts himself in that position. And if you watch the race tomorrow night, he'll be right there to watch. He was right there for the Daytona 500 until his engine expired. So, but so talented, and we saw that his very first race that he ever ran in the Cup Series, the Sprint Cup Series back at Dover a number of years ago. Just very talented.
So while we wait for Kenseth to go through the spoiler check and get to victory lane, the 4 drivers, numbers shown there, racing for the Nationwide Insurance Dash for Cash bonus. Elliott Sadler takes the money. And we check down on pit lane with Mike.
And you can see by the look on Elliott's face, sweat just dripping off it. He lost his cool box at one point during the race. Have to be awfully dehydrated. What was it like inside that race car today?
It was hot, but that's what we train for. That's what we get ready for. It's a great night for us. A lot of people here from Sport Clips Haircuts, they give us a lot of support with JGR. I'm glad to make it to the finish. Cole Trickle did a good job of pushing me there at the end. Great restart on his part. Just really happy these guys. Thank you so much to Nationwide Insurance to put this Dash for Cash on. It's a great program for us and our race teams, and I'm happy as hell to win it here tonight.
There was lots of conversation during that red flag trying to figure out exactly what you wanted to do on that restart. What was the thought process going into that final stretch of laps?
Well, Kyle Busch is so good at this stuff. We were trying to figure out, was it better for me to get up in front of him or him getting down in front of me? And then NASCAR changed the lineup somehow, some way, and they put the 54 behind us. So then we were just kind of stuck on the bottom. And Hornets gave me a little bit of a push, then left me out. And I was like, man, I'm bottom 3 wide. We're in trouble. But, Kurt Busch picked us up, Cole Trickle, and pushed us here to finish. So a great run for our guys. So happy to win this Dash for Cash, and cannot wait to get home, see my family. I hadn't seen them in about a week, so looking forward to getting home tonight and see them.
Sure, he's going to want to give the family this big old check, Alan, for $100 grand.
So Sadler wins round 1 of the 4-week Nationwide Insurance Dash for Cash. He will go to New Hampshire with a chance to win it again, along with Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson, and Sam Hornish Jr. Sam, who led 60 of 101 laps in this race and finished 7th.
Yeah, that's 3 out of the 4 that were in contention for it here. Sam Hornish joining that group of Larson, Dillon, and Sadler.
Well, Matt Kenseth ties Jeff Burton tonight for 6th all-time in Nationwide Series victories. He's got another win at Daytona and another big trophy coming to him.
How about that? The 41-year-old 2-time Daytona 500 winner, Matt Kenseth, gets another trip to victory lane. Matt, great effort tonight. Let's talk about the difficult decision you guys had to make with 2 to go. You had to choose a lane or a drafting partner, and you chose a drafting partner. Why?
Yeah, I mean, really, I felt like the outside lane was better, but, you know, Chris could push me so fast. And the 22 and the 12, when they were together all night, no matter who I was pushing or who was pushing me, we couldn't run with those two. But with a 34 pushing me, we could. You know, we had enough speed. So it was important to keep him with me. He did a really good job of getting us up the lead and put us in a position to try to win. So I want to make sure we stuck with him. He did a great job, really good job pushing there. So it's fun to be back in Nationwide Series. I want to thank Nationwide Insurance, Toyota, GameStop, Reese's, Gatorade, and Citizen. You know, it's fun to come back here and race again. It's been a while, and it's always special to win at Daytona.
Talk about how special this is. This is about emotion. You gave your crew chief, Matt Lucas, his very first ever Nationwide win night. You couldn't see it, but there were tears rolling down his cheek when you crossed the start-finish line. How special is that for you to get that to Matt?
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, the 18 team kind of all came together here at the last minute. You know, there was going to be 3 teams, and, you know, thank, again, GameStop and Research for putting a program together. Dollar General on our car next week as well, so we could go run some races. So they put together a 4th team and put Matt back in charge of it. And he's been doing a good job. He's been giving me fast cars, and, you know, I could feel we're getting closer every week, and it was nice to get one.
Matt Kenseth picking up his first win of the year, and it's back in Daytona where he's won the 500 twice. How about the guy who pushed him to the finish line? Let's hear from James Busher.
Doc, with James Busher, Daytona former winner, 2nd place tonight. Any thought of trying to make that move in the last lap?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely think about it. But, you know, when Matt lost his drafting partner there with inside 20 to go, you know, I was relieved. I was running inside the top 10, and it was the odd man out. So I latched onto his rear bumper, and we went right to the front. Right then, I knew that I had to stay committed to him to the end of the race as long as we could, if everything worked out on the restarts, and it did. So, you know, good. He did a heck of a job all night, you know, picking the right lanes and getting us to the front. And, you know, he was the first car all weekend we've been able to push for a long period of time. So, you know, hats off to everybody on this Florida Lottery team, and thank you to Ream and Tag Heuer Eyewear and Air 8 Boots and everybody that makes this deal go around and lets us come play in the Nationwide Series. And thanks Nationwide Insurance for giving us great racing.
And for all of you bench racing crew chiefs, by the way, the left side tires on James's car, they were never changed. They ran the whole night. Shannon?
4th place finish for Kurt Busch in the what I would say is the coolest looking car of the night. We heard you guys on the radio just having so much fun. How was the race?
It was a great race. With all the fun, you had to, you know, separate with what we had for a focus on strategy, drafting partners, and then switching over into to the movie quotes and just having fun. These Phoenix racing guys work really hard, and I'm glad that I can jump in and run one last time to give it a shot and try to back up our win that we had here last year. And, you know, a lot of things come together, and Mr. H gave us our blessing with City Chevrolet on board and with the Armed Forces Foundation creating awareness for post-traumatic stress disorder. That's the reasoning for doing the car. And it was a shame we didn't get in victory lane. I wanted to have a foot race with Harry all the way down pit road to victory lane.
Well, that would certainly been fun, but it was a great night listening to Kurt and his team on the radio. Mike?
What a great last restart it was for Austin Dillon. You went from 21st all the way to 5th. What were those closing laps like?
Well, it wasn't a great restart. I felt like we got hooked up pretty good. I got to thank Parker Kligerman and his Bandit Chipper crew. I mean, they stuck with us there to the end, and I feel really bad. I felt like we should have had a shot to win, me and him, and man, I just bummed for him because we got shuffled back there, and I got in a run and went through the middle from 21st to 5th there at the end. But the Evercare Chevrolet was really strong. It's just I tried to suck down on the 18 and 34 to pull them apart going into turn 1, and it actually sucked me off of Parker off of me, and we went way back, then it came right to the front, and that Dash for Cash was right there in front of us, working with Kyle, trying to get him out of the way and then get to Elliott, and it was close at the end. But I want to thank my guys. We had a really fast car.
She did. Nice run tonight.
Thank you. Thank Nationwide Insurance and everybody at home.
And Austin Dillon came up a little bit short on the Dash for Cash, but he's eligible again next week.
Front to the back to the front. And the colorful rehash with his crew chief, Danny Stockman. And we look ahead to New Hampshire next week. And on beyond that, Chicagoland, Indianapolis, some great venues for the NASCAR Nationwide Series coming up. Join us at the track. That's how you get tickets. This one was fun.
Oh, it's fun, and we got a lot of fun races. That New Hampshire race is an affair that it's like a short. It's a mile track, but it's like a short track. But so many different type tracks coming up that it just puts a lot of pressure on them. But we've got a tight points battle, so it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've got New Hampshire coming up, like you said, next week, and that Dash for Cash is still there. So it's going to be interesting to see how hard they race for that.
So that's next Saturday on ABC at 3 Eastern Time. You mentioned the championship. It was 8 points between Regan Smith and Sam Hornish starting the night. Well, they finished 2 spots apart.
Yeah, see, Elliott Sadler closed up about 5 points of his gap up there to third, only 14 out of the lead. He's back in it.
Yep, top 5, 17 points apart. Don't count Kyle Larson out of this thing yet.
And let me check myself. They finished 1 spot apart, but Sam got the bonus points for leading the most laps tonight. Check back with Shannon.
Well, Justin Allgaier just currently checking out that graphics of the point standing. I mean, everyone comes to Daytona and they know it's about survival and getting through the race. Certainly not a win, but you guys were able to come out. You're just 14 points behind the championship. What do you think?
I mean, I think we had a good trademark nitrogen Camaro today. I was a little frustrated on that last caution. We got behind the 22 and pushed him through, and had a good head of steam going in the 12 switch lanes in front of us there. And I thought, okay, we're going to be perfect. We'll just push the 3 cars. And Joey slammed on the brakes to disconnect us. And then from there, it was just tough. We lost a lot of spots because of that. So I don't know. I was looking at the points graphic. I'm not sure that's exactly right from what I figured in my head, but we'll go with it. Can't thank everybody at Turner Scott Motorsports and North Nationwide Insurance. Just frustrating.
Thanks, Justin. Alan?
All right, Shannon, so Matt Kenseth wins tonight here at Daytona after a late caution. Set up a 2-lap shootout to the finish. They got through those 2 laps without another caution. Kenseth and James Buescher got away on the last restart, while the race's dominant drivers, Sam Hornish and Joey Logano, got separated and were never able to mount a charge to the front.